Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello, welcome back to Painting Watercolours. I've just stretched the paper. This is £140 Bockingford Extra Rough for those who are a bit technical. This works well for me. And I've just left a thin film of water on the paper and I'm just drying off this mountain here because I don't want any paint to get into it, not just yet. So what I'm using today just for the sky, Naples yellow, cobalt blue with Payne's grey, magenta and Payne's grey, magenta and Payne's grey again, but this is a thicker mixture, and cadmium orange. And I'm going to put in some sort of wispy Naples yellow in here, bring it over the mountain, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take some cadmium orange because I want to bring some colour into the sky. I'm just dropping this in places. You may have to strengthen this up after, just when you see how it starts to settle. A relatively weak wash of cobalt blue and Payne's grey, and I'm just going to drop this in and just allow this to float and spread. Use any brush you feel comfortable with. I'm just leaving some light and dark patches, and I do want to save some of the tree foliage from being contaminated, so I'll just pat a little bit out, turn the brush the right way, and I'm going to bring this around and into the trees just so the sky comes in. Take some of the magenta and Payne's grey. This is the weaker of the two mixes. I'm just going to check this. I do want to leave some of the lighter patches. I also want to drop in a little water as we go. A bit more water just to really get this wet and let it run. And at this stage in the game, adding water to it isn't that dangerous. It really can give you some soft effects. I do want to strengthen up one or two areas of this a bit later, but it's too wet at the moment for that. And I'm just going to leave this to soften down. It's not totally dry, but when the shine starts to disappear and the paint has sunk through the water and deposited itself on the paper, then we'll strengthen some of it up. Okay, I've given this about 10 minutes and I'm moving on to the stronger mixture of the magenta and Payne's grey, because I do want some stronger areas in it. But I don't want this to spread everywhere, and this is why I've allowed it to dry a little bit, but not dry out. You can see it's still very wet, but this will stop the spread too far. Just tapping the edge. Don't play with it too much. Sometimes a little bit of neglect works wonders. I'll bring some a little bit round this yellow. It will help emphasize it. You can get carried away with this, so just step back and have a look, because you want some of the other colour to show through. Just very gently touch it, and if you put a bright colour here, say an autumn yellow, against the dark, you will get this to stand out. So you'd just be playing a lighter colour against a darker colour. Take some water again. Just allowing it to move very gently. All this is to do with timing. when you do this. Nobody can teach you timing, you have to find that out yourself. Like I said, there is no set time for how long you leave it, it's just when it looks right. And don't worry, I still get that wrong. And then I'm going to leave that to dry naturally. Now that your sky is nice and dry, when I say dry, the paper is still damp to keep it stretched, and I'm just re-wetting this background mounting. And what I'm going to do is put this in quite simply, just using the same sky colour again, and allow this to come through the water, flood it on and allow it to come through the water, and we'll put some lost and found edges on it. Sometimes it's not about painting mountains in, it's about what you want to leave out. Now I've not brought the water all the way down, we'll be doing each mounting individually, and I'm adding water to this, and I'm going to allow this to really just run. I want to take that edge out there, and I'll be taking this edge out here, and I'm leaving some gaps in it. This is the sky colour, the cloud colour, this is the magenta and Payne's grey. And I want to start removing some water off the bottom, just flicking it up and allowing it to come further down, getting paler as we come down. Maybe take the edge out here on the bottom. This will fool your eye. Just paling this edge off, and I'm just rinsing the brush out and then taking the water off. So I get a very fine line. Where I want to lose the mountain's edge, I'm going to take it out. Just using some water on the brush and then removing it. Hope my head's not in the way, it does sometimes happen. The board is set at an angle, and this will allow you just to sculpt it a little bit with your damp brush. You see how that looks? You just keep an eye on it. I'm going to do each individual set of mountings separately, because I don't want them to come together and run. And that's all I want to do to that, so I'm going to let that one dry. Now that your first background mounting is dry, I just want to show you a quick tip. If your unpainted areas are drying out, what you can do is just run some water on the dry areas, and most of this will be done with these 4 colours. So I'll wet that. I'm adding water into this because I'm just encouraging it to flow. Maybe a little bit of light is coming through here. Just make it interesting. Moving on to this third set of mountain ranges in it. It does have some crags in it, but we won't paint them in. What we'll do is we will wipe them out. And I'm going to take some water on some of this and just hit it with some water. A bit more colour in places, just for a bit of shading. And then I want to pale it off down here. Just adding colour where I think it needs it. Take a brush to it, and I just want to bring out some crags just by wiping some out. That's about all I want to do to that. I'm going to let that dry. We'll put the water in now. For people who are new to watercolour, sometimes it's easier to paint if you break it down into sections like I've done here, and it makes it easier for you to follow it and make it a better experience for you. So I'm going to take some Naples yellow, cadmium orange in. It's in the sky, so we can put it in. And I'm going to take some of the cobalt blue and Payne's grey. Some of the mountain colour. I'm going to drop this in. I think I have told you I did re-wet the whole of the water area. I'm going to let that dry naturally on its own. Now that's dry. I've just put some burnt sienna in and dropped in some cadmium orange down here. That's just to get on with the land, let it dry out while we do the foliage on the trees. And I'm just patting some water in using the tip of the brush. And I'm not putting it everywhere. I do want some dry patches and wet patches. And I'm going to take some cadmium yellow light and I want to drop this in and I can create some autumn foliage with any luck. It's just to add that shock of colour and some cadmium orange. It's a mixture of French ultramarine, burnt umber with a little bit of magenta in it. You can just add some of the dark undergrowth. You can use earth colours, browns for this, everything. Then into this, I want to add some nice dark to it, French ultramarine and burnt umber. Carve out some dark spots and some light spots. Take a detail brush and I want to bring some of this and just create some structure. Some branches. Can allow all this to run together. Thicken the tree trunk as you come down. So I'm just going to bring it down just above where the paint is wet, just about there. And I'm going to leave the land area just to dry off a little bit. Now that's dried out a little bit. All I did was just scrape some rocks in with a palette knife and we'll just emphasise those in a minute or two, and I'm just carrying on bringing the trunk into the ground. There's quite a bit on that, but I don't mind. Then I'm going to take a wet brush and I'm going to attach this tree to the ground just by gently pulling some of the colour into the ground. Just adding a little bit more colour. Just soften that edge down, just leaving some of the rocks to show through. I really want to darken down this corner. I want to put some grasses in. Don't have them all growing the same way. Once they start to look a little bit like soldiers. Mix up the colour, put some brown ones in. Just adding some growth. You get the twigs and branches and small bushes growing. Well, you can add those in. Make the picture your own. If you don't have these colours, you can always put your own in. I do encourage that. I don't think I want to do any more to that, so what I'm going to do is later on, when it's completely dry, I'm going to put some water lines in, which you'll see right at the end in the picture. But it has to be really dry for that. But you can sign it, put a mountain on it and frame it. If you've enjoyed this one, please subscribe. Please hit the like button, it really does help. And I'll see you next time. Couple of birds. Thank you very much for watching.